Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fano are going to be tied to one another for the upcoming draft, not only because they're teammates from Utah, but because this tackle class, it quite frankly isn't very good. It looked like there could be some solid names in the mix, but we're already having trouble figuring out who's worthy of being the best tackle in the class. To help dissect this, let's compare Lomu and Fano. Which guy do you like more, and which do you think has the best chance of being OT1?
I like Caleb Lomu more than Spencer Fano because I think when you compare the two, Joe, and Fano has spent time at left and right tackle during his Utah career, obviously the last two at right tackle. Caleb Lomu is just a now 2-year starter at left tackle. But he, for me, has the prototype that I look for an offensive lineman or offensive tackle specifically more than what Fano has. Fano is a high-effort blocker, really good on the move in the run game especially, and he's got good feet, and he's a coordinated athlete, just in general keeping his upper body and lower body connected. But Lomu, for me, by the way, as we're recording this, he's still only 19 years old, by the way, Caleb Lomu. So he's a younger cat, but he has a bigger frame, a longer frame, and I think the upside is just higher there, man. Like, Fano's body kind of worries me a little bit, man. Like, he's a little bit thin everywhere, you know, which like kind of gives me pause a little bit because I know we make these conversations weird sometimes, Joe, but when I'm evaluating an offensive lineman and an offensive tackle, I want a big lower body. You know what I mean? I think people could use their imaginations on that. I want some thunder thighs. I want some thick calves. I want all that to generate power consistently. I think Lomu has a much better body, much more development, and much more upside than Fano. I like Fano as a player, but I would bet on Lomu all day.
I completely disagree with you.
Oh, no.
I think that you brought up a important part with Fano. I'm sure we'll find out the exact pronunciation at a certain point. He was in the summer.
The F is actually
thin.
silent. The F is actually silent. It's just
don't
Ano.
do this to me. Don't
just kidding.
Stop trolling me, please, for the love of God. During the summer, it was absolutely something that I noted that, hey, he's got a really thin lower half. You want an offensive lineman with a big ass. Usually means that you're carrying a lot of weight. It allows for you to anchor effectively. It allows you to churn because you've got strong muscular legs. I know that we're getting like really specific to the anatomy
Displace
here.
There's a reason why it's something that's Yep.
There's a reason why it's constantly brought up. I felt like I noticed that there was a lot more bulk added to him, which makes me feel better because it makes me know that he focused on it. And within his first few years in the NFL, if he does need to add some more weight, I think that he can. I know that oftentimes we expect that to maybe happen in the league. It doesn't always necessarily translate. Those leaps are going to happen more so in college. But here's my biggest thing. Lomu, who I liked more in the summer, I did not see any progression whatsoever in his film. I did not feel like he had gotten better. I didn't. I was more impressed with watching Fano, seeing the ways that he was able to work in space, how light his feet were. You talked about the movement skills. That to me was really, really impressive. And for a guy that doesn't have super hulking legs, I think that he's got some pretty solid body strength, lower body strength that allows him to anchor and to get some decent drive in the run game. I think he's also pretty effective on double teams, which to me is important for right tackles because of their involvement. Ryan, I just think Lomu didn't really totally pop to me in the sense that it didn't look like he was getting enough pop off the ball. It did not look like he had enough pop in his hands. I wanted to see him get stronger. I wanted to see him get more powerful, more like truly dominant and physical in that regard. And I felt like he stayed stagnant since the summer coming into this season.
Wow, we see this way different, man, because I thought Lomu from a power perspective was a lot better than he was in 2024. Like, I thought 2025 he was much more impactful so far in the run game than he was in 2024. I think his body has filled out tremendously. I actually think Fano is kind of the guy that just kind of stayed the same. And if anything, his hands may have gotten a little bit more chaotic from what they were previously the season prior. So, yeah, we're going to see this one differently, man. I am going to bet on the younger, more developmental upside of an athlete at the offensive tackle position. You know, just personally in my process, there's only a couple spots that I really just kind of bank on upside a ton. Offensive tackle is one of those spots that I do bank on raw athleticism and raw traits a little bit more.
But here's the thing, though, is I just don't think that Lomu is some sort of drastically better athlete than Fano. I just don't see that there's some...
Just wait till he tests, Joe. Just wait till he tests.
I'm sure that he's going to test well, but I think that Fano's going to test really well as well. This is what makes the conversation interesting, is that they're both really athletically quite gifted, but in different ways. I had trouble with, and maybe I'm going to end up being proven wrong at the combine, I didn't love the way that he countered and the way that he tried to keep up with opposing rushers. I felt like there were instances on tape where he was falling a little bit off balance. He just wasn't as fluid. Fano, I felt I saw fluidness. I saw coordination. I agree with you on the hand stuff because, man, against Texas Tech, he was wrapping his arm around those Texas Tech rushers, their necks. It was bad, and he's got to get lower. He's not inflexible, but he's got to get it quite a bit lower. But I don't know. For Lomu, who in the summer I thought was really flexible and fluid, didn't have that same degree of flexibility. And I don't know if that was he was banged up. I don't know if it's because he added more weight and he just wasn't ready to move that way. I don't know what it was. It was just odd seeing the difference.
Well, when they go to the combine and do the interviews with teams, the generic question of if there was a one game that described you as a football player, which game am I popping on? Neither one of those gentlemen are saying Texas Tech. Not a single one of them. They both had kind of rough outings against the Red Raiders. But I don't know, man. I guess I see the athleticism more pop, I think, with Lomu. And I don't even say comparatively to Spencer Fano. I just think they're much different players. Like Spencer Fano, I expect to be a little bit more flexible than Caleb Lomu because although they're listed about the same weight, there is 0% chance in my mind that Spencer Fano is as heavy as Lomu. Like he is the more flexible player because he's smaller than Caleb Lomu. He doesn't have as much weight on his frame, in my opinion. So I think they're very different athletes, very different players. I'll just bank on the upside with Lomu because I think it's still there at only 19 years old.